What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? This is your boy Is Nefarious, and I am here for another episode following the Cleveland Browns series over on Madden 25 with our Start Today mod and also the My Franchise tool, which we will feature in this episode so you can get an idea. But before we continue and dive into it, if you're enjoying the content, please down below like, comment, and subscribe. If you're enjoying all the content, make sure you turn on all notifications as well so you get every video that is uploaded every time we upload on this channel. This is one of our 4 series with the Cleveland Browns, and we are overperforming. But before we talk about the Cleveland Browns specifically, I want to show you this My Franchise tool. This tool is a lot of fun. Makes the game so much better, and even when Madden 26 comes out, I'm probably gonna do a modded version that uses the My Franchise tool. Now take a look at this My Franchise tool. You can see up here at the top you got all these games with over under. It's like a sports book type of view. You can see LA is +1.5 against Indianapolis with an over of 46, so it's really cool. And then you get the team rankings here. You could see the streak, you could see the previous game, you could see obviously the record, all that good stuff. You get the pass TDs, interception, so you get a bunch of information, which is really cool when you look at the preview. Take a look at our preview because we are the Cleveland Browns. We are 6.5-point favorites right now. You can see with some of the stats right now, we have the we're number one in pass TDs, and then we're also number 1 in rush yards per game. So we're playing pretty damn well right now. But this My Franchise tool is really good. It makes the whole thing immersive. We could also take a look at the team rankings, where we rank in the power rankings, and we are number 4, right behind the Baltimore Ravens. You have the 4-0 Jets and the 4-0 Cardinals leading the league right now. QB rankings as well. You get a QB grade, which is pretty cool. So you see Lamar Jackson. Let's see if we could see our man Shadur Sanders right there. He's number 19 with a 82.6 QB rating, so a really good season so far from him. But you get some cool rankings here. Could you it says view detailed, so you get a detailed view of it. It has decision making. That's interesting. I'd never seen that stat before. But you could also get the detailed view of the team rankings. As you can see, we're 3rd in scoring offense. We are 25th in passing, 1st in rushing, 2nd in scoring defense. We're 18th in pass defense, and we're 13th in rush defense. And number 19 ranked QB Shadur Sanders in veteran locker room. So they give a little like snippet of the team. You can see do it all running back, lockdown, secondary, youth movement over with the Ravens as the number 3 team. So you get some cool stuff, I think, that you don't get offered in Madden. You obviously got the standings, the normal stuff. We could take a look at some of the player stats. You get your week review, which we'll take a look at as well. And then you got the NFL draft. You can come over here, see a mock draft if you wanted to. It's not uploaded yet, it seems, but you get the draft order right now, and it has the Raiders number 1, Chargers number 2. Interesting. I don't know why Chargers would be above the Titans at the moment, but you could also take a look at the draft class if we wanted to pull that up. It also lets us see the ratings if we really wanted to ruin it, but we're not going to do that. You could see who's ranked top to bottom. You could also edit your team stuff in here. So if I don't want to load up the game to do my depth chart, I could go right here and I could do my depth chart. And I also have it on in this right hand corner. You could see grades only, so I could do my depth chart based on a general grade for the player instead of a full overall and things like that. You can make it a little more interesting. It shows you finances, injuries, staff. It'll tell you who you have on your staff right now. Scouting report, it'll tell you about your quarterbacks, your running backs, and it'll give a scouting report from speed, athleticism, vision, elusiveness, receiving, physicality. Quarterback, you got arm talent, accuracy, decision making, pocket presence, creativity, and mobility. So you got a bunch of different things you could look at here, which is really cool with the scouting report. And you can do that for every team. You get the statistics generally. So take a look. I wanted to take a look at the statistics. So while we're here, Shadur Sanders so far been the story. 116, 80 for 116. with 854 yards, 69% completion percentage. He has 10 TDs and 1 pick so far this season. His rating is a 115.4. So Shedeur playing really well. Jerome Ford has 318 yards in 4 games. So not 100 yards per game, but has 2 TDs. You're also getting some rushing yards from J.K. Dobbins. Taking a look at the receiving, Jerry Jeudy's leading our team with 234 yards. He also has 2 TDs. So you take a look at some of those stats there. Defensively, taking a look at the sack numbers, Malik Collins, the DT, with 4. You got Mason Graham right behind him with 3.5. So we're getting some pressure from the rookie, which is nice. And then you also got a overview of the team that we could take a look at. Top players, most expensive, upcoming free agents. We could see just about everything with this. And then you get your stats here in the left-hand corner. And it'll break it down by sacks, I think. Yeah, it got sacks, it got tackle leaders, it got sacks leaders, also got interception leaders. So then you got your team overall here in the right hand corner. And then the main thing, and one of the coolest things about this, is the tools. So there's a tool schedule that you have to run. You got preseason week 1, you got regular season week 1, you got regular season and postseason, you got regular season week 8, and now all this does is make your franchise more immersive. The off season, you get your stats matter tool that progress and regress players based on stats, match playbooks, assign abilities, remove all injuries, motivations generator changes the motivations of players based on the time in their career or what their experiences have been. So you get a motivations generator, you get clear cap space, restructures contracts and cuts cap casualties, export season data. That means we could have the history of the league, which I'll show you here in a second. We already have some of that. And then you got other things that you have to do, trade, lottery, all this good stuff, and it'll break it down this week. See, we're on this week, so depending on what week we're week 5 2025, it'll say this week we got to do this X, Y, and Z, and it'll break it down what you got to do, which is really nice and more efficient, because in the past they didn't have this. The one thing I did want to see is league history. Like I said, they keep track of league history. Right now, this is from last season and tells us the MVP, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. This is from 2025. This was just this past season, since we are in the future. And then you have the Chiefs and 49ers in the Super Bowl before. Then you have the Eagles and the Chiefs, the Rams and the Bengals, the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, and you could go all the way back. As you can see, you got the Patriots and the Rams here. You got the Patriots, Eagles. I wonder how far back we could go. This was the... No, this wasn't the year. Yeah, no, this was the year. Is that the first Giants? Yeah, no, that was the first one. That was the 2007 season when we almost went undefeated. You go all the way back. Eagles, Panther. You get the Eagles game against the Pats, the Panthers, the Pats. You get the Rams and the Pats. So you could go way back. What was this year? Right here, where the Pats lost to Green Bay 35-21 was the final score. But you get the complete history of the NFL all the way back to Super Bowl 1. Where you had Brett Starr, the MVP of the season, and Tom Landry, the coach of the year, and the Packers won. So you get a complete rundown of the history of the NFL, which is awesome, and it's pretty clean to look at. It's not too much to look at, which is great. It could always be like too much to look at. You could see at the active coaches. You also got free agent coaches, like they got Bill Belichick here. A head coach, offensive playbook Patriots, defensive playbook Patriots, multiple power run, 3-4 under. You could see his career stats and where he ranks amongst coaches, which is really cool. You could edit the coach, edit talents, hire coach, retire coach, set a portrait if we really wanted to, and we could get a Bill Belichick portrait to fit there. So you got a bunch of stuff you could do here, and I really like this, and I actually like using this over the Madden main screen that we use. And then you get your free agents that you could look at. I could sign them, and anything I change here, like I said, I could do my depth chart. Anything I change here will update in the game. So you got to make sure you're not in the game when you're in this My Franchise tool, and then when you load up the game after you make your changes, you'll see every change you made here in the game. So that's really cool. I wanted to do the week review just to run down our season a little bit. So if we go here in the, was it this league review? Oh, was it? It was something else. Because I got the week 5 matchups. I had it up actually. Player contracts team. Nope, that wasn't it. I swear it was something else where it gave me a, oh, there it is, weekly recap. I don't know why it didn't show that originally. So I could go all the way back to week 1. So week 1, you could see the recap from week 1. We won 40-14. Some of the news from that week: the Browns Carson moved to MLB to fit the scheme. You could see some of the other things. Joe Mixon are relieved. Today's injury wasn't severe. You get a bunch of league stats. Oh, so I didn't even realize this. In a move that could take them to the next level, the Bears acquired Tyreek Hill in a trade with the Dolphins. Now, that's not a trade I did. So that is interesting. That is interesting. And Dallas Goedert got traded as well. Wow. I didn't even realize that. You can see the top performers as well, which is pretty cool. And then you can see the transaction. So you can see the trade has been traded in Miami Dolphins. Jalen Johnson was sent to the Dolphins, so it looks like that was the trade. We'll actually take a closer look at that trade. Week 2, you could see some of the stats from week 2, some of the scores. We ended up beating the Raiders 28-14. See some of the news, not much news as last week. Some top performers here from that week, and then the transactions. You could see that the Bears signed Alexander Madison. Kiara Elam also got a contract from the Bears. Mostert went to the Patriots. You got Uche, who went to the Jags. You got Michael Holt that went to the Bengals. So you got a bunch of different moves that happened in week 2. Then you go to week 3. And you can see some of the moves there. We ended up beating the Dolphins 32-10 was the final. Some of the top performers, no Brown players there. And then week 4, which is the week we just actually tied. It's taking a second to load, it seems. So week 4, you can see that we tied 28-28 in that OT game. So unable to get the win there. You can see some of the top performers. Kyle Hamilton had a game and a half against us. I mean, some of the news, that was actually news, and he won the defensive player of the week. And you can see the 3 defenders that had a really good games against us: Trenton Simpson, Adafe Owe, and then Kyle Hamilton and Shadur Sanders had a great game in his first, real QB battle of the season. Jerome Ford ended up getting injured in this game. And then you can see some of the transactions. Nothing too crazy. And speak of transactions, you can see Kyle Pitts actually got an extension. Wan'Dale Robinson got signed. Brian Breezy got a contract with the Dolphins. You got Asante Samuel, who got a 4-year contract with the Dolphins. Kyron Williams got a contract. So I want to take a look at some of the transactions, because obviously we missed some big trades. So that's the one thing that this franchise tool doesn't have that I couldn't find, is an actual breakdown of transactions. Like, I just wanted to see the trade firsthand instead of just the news. They do have a lot of cool stuff like social media. They do have transaction screens, but you get a lot of fodder with signings and cuts and all that good stuff. So you can't really break it down there. You kind of got to speak about it. You can't really see this, speak about it when it happens. You can't really see the history of it. That's basically the franchise tool. I just wanted to show you some of it. In this episode, we're going to talk about, how far we want to get with this Browns team. So we just played the Ravens last week, and we tied 28-28. And then we do have a rematch game here at Cleveland that we want to get to. So we'll sim the San Fran game, see how we do there, the Bills game as well, and we'll get to the Baltimore Ravens, where we'll get some gameplay, the rematch between Shadur Sanders and Lamar Jackson. They never really get to finish that heavyweight bout that they had, as it ended in a tie. So let's jump into the sim. Let's get to this Ravens game, where it's going to be a huge game to watch, 1 p.m. Sunday in week 7. So I wanted to break down some of the trades that happened in this franchise. So you have the Falcons trading Mike Hughes to the Jets, and they give up Josh Myers, who's a center. And then you have the Falcons traded a 5th round pick to the Jets and a 7th round pick. So I assume that was all a part of the same trade. So a 5th, a 7th to the Jets, and Mike Hughes for Josh Myers, which is pretty interesting. Cowboys trade Turbin to the Colts. Colts trade Jalen Johnson to the Cowboys. Oh, Jalen Jones, I should say, not Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson's actually really good. So you got Turbin going to the Colts for Jalen Jones. You also got a 4th round pick going to the Colts as well from the Cowboys. The Cardinals traded Mack Wilson Sr. to the Jets. They get Will Hernandez. Taking a look, you have the Texans trading Drew Phillips. Giants trading Drew Phillips to the Texans. The Texans getting Dameon Pierce. They also get a 3rd round pick from the Giants to the Texans. Giants to the Texans 5th round pick. So a 3rd, a 5th, and Drew Phillips for Dameon Pierce going to the Giants. So they get their answer at running back. You got Dallas Goedert going to the Bears, and they give up TJ Edwards. They also give up a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick. And then the big trade was Jalen Johnson, a 2nd and a 4th going to the Dolphins for Tyreek Hill. So a big trade there. And the Bears traded for a lot of tight ends. Traded for a tight end, and I want to take a look at what this team's looking like and how they're managing this team. So you got Caleb Williams, you got Alexander Madison, Roshan Johnson. And then you got Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze. You got Luther Burden as well. Then at tight end, you got Loveland, you got Komet, and then you got Dallas Goedert. So they have stacked up on this team offensively. Very, very aggressive. Taking a look at the Dolphins, who made a couple moves themselves. So they obviously got a pretty good defensive backfield. When you're taking a look at it, they obviously lose Tyreek Hill, but they got Deontay Johnson. They got Westbrook Akine. They got Malik Washington. And then in the DB room, taking a look at what they're doing there. So they added Jalen Johnson. So they got Ramsey, Jalen Johnson, and Asante Samuel Jr. Really building on that defense. You got Jimmy Ward as well, and Melifonwu. I think I did it all right on that. Give me an A plus. But some big moves happening for the Dolphins and the Eagles. I mean, not the Eagles, the Bears. So huge moves. Now it's time to jump into the sim. Hopefully, we can win this game. The San Francisco 49ers are the better team. So we got the 49ers, we got the Bills, and we got the Ravens. So I'll get to the Ravens game, and then we'll take a look at the recaps from the Browns game against the 49ers and the Bills game that we're not playing. This is a mix of us playing some, us simming some, because we want to make sure that it's based on our team building, not based on our user skill. So let's jump into the sim and let's get over to that Ravens game. And now 2 weeks in the future, we are a different team. As you can see, we lost to the 49ers 26-14 was the final score. Shadur Sanders was 24-40, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. No rushing. You can see 8 attempts for 18 yards for J.K. Dobbins. Jerry Jeudy had a good game through the air. And Christian McCaffrey and Isaac Guerrero were insane in this game. They had over 200 yards together. Brock Purdy didn't have to do much, even though he still threw for 37 times. But a really good game. They had a lot of sacks in this one. We can't really sort by it, but we got 2 from Goldman. Judon had 2. Williams and West all had 1. All had a sack, I should say. And then on our side defensively, you only had 1 sack from Okoronkwo, who ended up being the only noticeable defender. We did have an interception by JOK, which was good. Fred Warner had 1 as well. So we lose that week, lose to the 49ers. And then some of the news from around the league: Myles Garrett, he actually finds himself on the IR, well, not the IR, but the injured list. He ended up suffering an injury there, working towards a return. I think he's out for 6 weeks. We'll take take a look at the injury firsthand. JOK was a top performer. As you can see, Brandon Ayuk a top performer, so was Christian McCaffrey. Take a look at the transactions from this week. George Pickens and the Cowboys agreed to extension 3 years there for $59 million. Linderbaum and the Ravens agreed to extension for 5 years, $109. Rashid Walker extends in Green Bay. You got Zerline extending, Nick Cross. You got Lowry, Oliver, Scott, Jack Jones agrees to a contract, and it looks like these were some of the free agency signings, these 1-year contracts. So we lose week 5. Week 6 we played the Bills, and we lost that week too. 28-10 was the final score. The Bills now moving to 2-4. We are now 3-2-1. Shadur Sanders with 15-30, 148 yards, no TDs, no picks. Junkins 15 attempts for 86 yards. He had a TD, so the rookie getting involved. Shadur Sanders had 2 carries as well. Johnson with 9 carries for 58 yards, 6.4 yards a carry. Josh Allen was 24 of 38. He had 268 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. Joshua Palmer with 97 receiving yards, and then Jerry Jeudy leading the team with 85 on our side. You can see the chemistry between Shadur Sanders and Jerry Jeudy. Taking a look at the defense, you did have, it looked like so you got 3 sacks there, so 3 sacks total, so a little bit better job by our defense. Our offensive line protected Shadur Sanders, still gave up 3 sacks, and then on our side we only had 1 sack from Harris. We no longer have Myles Garrett out there, so that's going to be a big hit to the defense. And the player of the game, I didn't even notice that last week, the player of the game was actually Josh Allen getting the player of the game. I didn't even notice that from last week. Let me go back to the box score of last week. I want to take a look at the player of the game. Brandon Ayuk was the player of the game of this game. Honestly, you could have picked anybody, but Brandon Ayuk did have 2 touchdowns. Offensively was a really good game from the 49ers, who are now 3-3. So going back to week 6, some of the news from this week, nothing on our end, which is great, with no big injuries. You got nothing big in terms of moves. Take a look at top performers. Brock Purdy was up there. No Bills, no Browns players. Take a look at the injury report. J.K. Dobbins goes out with a broken thumb. Did we even see what Myles Garrett ended up getting from last week? So there was no injury report from last week, so that's why we didn't see that. But J.K. Dobbins goes out with a broken thumb. He'll be back in week 10, so that shows you why Junkins was a huge part of this week. And then some transactions, some 1-year signings. Troy Hill got released. Elijah Mitchell got released from KC. You got some people getting released, and some 1-year signings. But that leads us to this Sunday matchup: the Ravens versus the Browns. Lamar Jackson versus Shadur Sanders. Another big matchup in the rankings. We've dropped to number 13 overall in the team rankings, and then Shadur is still in that 19 to 21 range, so he's dropped to 21 with an 80.6 grade, which is I really like that they do this, because this is not just a QBR. This is actually a grade overall for each quarterback. And I wonder where my quarterback is. Where is Drake May? How is he performing this season? Don't see him on this list. Don't tell me he's not even starting. Oh, right here, number 32. One of the worst quarterbacks in the league. And where's the Patriots overall? They are 2-3, so not too bad. But we are here to take on the Ravens. I wanted to take a look at our injury report to see what we're dealing with injuries. We do got a lot of injuries. Broken thumb for J.K. Dobbins. Cameron Thomas is healthy. He's back. Returns this week. You got Miles Harden, who we put on the IR, just one of the rookies. Myles Garrett had a partial PCL tear. He'll return week 10. Jerome Ford will return week 10. So we got J.K. Dobbins and Jerome Ford out until week 10. We don't have David Njoku until week 9. We did turn down the injuries a little bit, so because the whole league is dealing with a lot of injuries. I wonder if we could get a few complete look at the injuries, which we can't. Doesn't even, oh no, it does. Injured players, as you can see, a long laundry list of players that are injured. You got 2 pages worth of injuries, so we're gonna tone down the injuries a little bit. I think that's something we're gonna have to do. Taking a look at the team stats, we're 8th in points, 28th in passing yards, we're 2nd in rushing yards, we're 2nd in giveaways. Defensively, 20th in points. 8th in points with 20 points per game, 26th in passing yards, 29th in rushing yards, and 1st in takeaways. So we're getting a lot of takeaways. We got some free agents that we have to worry about. Like I said, we don't sign them unless they get a full green bar, which we'll go into next episode when we start to think about what we're going to do in the future. But that's the injuries right now. Now we take on the Baltimore Ravens once again, who we put on a great matchup in the first time we matched up. And hopefully we have another good one to look at. So with 2 straight losses, the Cleveland Browns take on the Ravens, who we tied with earlier on in the season. The big thing is we are injury riddled right now, and the Ravens are not. So this is going to be a tough game, dealing with Derrick Henry, Kyle Hamilton, Lamar Jackson, and not a lot of injuries from this Ravens team. But on our side, we got a ton. David Njoku's going to be out, Myles Garrett, Jerome Ford, and we got to figure out a way to make it work. Will we be able to put up the same performance with all these injuries as we take the field? And Shedeur Sanders, who's having a pretty solid rookie season, is going to look to continue some of that momentum, even though we lost 2 straight. So early on, we're going to get a chance to keep them out of the end zone. They're in the red zone. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry moving. And then you're going to have Rashad Bateman on a jet sweep. He cuts it up the middle and gets 7 yards. And on 2nd and 3, play action from Lamar. He's going to find somebody underneath that looks like it's Isaiah Likely, who gets him a 1st down. So 1st and goal from the 9. 1st and goal from the 9. Lamar Jackson driving this offense downfield here early on. They're going to hand it off to Derrick Henry, and we're able to make the play in the backfield. Troy Shoyanka with a great tackle of Derrick Henry, and they lose 3 yards on that play. All right, here on the next play, they're going to run a screen pass. It's going to get over to Justice Hill, who takes it down inside the 5 to the 3. A nice screen pass. We were actually covering them, and we weren't able to keep up. All right, we're going to use it to Grant Delpit. 3rd and goal from the 3. Going to cover over the middle, and the pass rush gets there. That's Miles Murphy, the newcomer, with the sack. 4th and goal coming up. We hold them to 3. All right, we got another key moment. 2nd and 5. They're inside the red zone once again. This offense trying to get things going. They're going to hand it off to Derrick Henry, and he's chased down by Emerson for the tackle for loss. A 3rd and 11 coming up. All right, 3rd and 11. Going to use a JOK once again. We got the running back. Big 3rd down. Gonna run another screen. We're gonna get there with JOK this time, though. That's not gonna work again on us. And 4th and 14 coming up. We hold them to a field goal again. All right, it's been nothing but defense so far, and we got another defensive opportunity here in this game. They're gonna hand it off to Derrick Henry, and that's a good job by Shoyanka to tackle him in the backfield. And you can see our notable inactives right now: Myles Garrett, David Njoku, and Jerome Ford, all huge parts of this team. Gonna see if we could get to Lamar Jackson here on 2nd and goal from the 6. Is he gonna hand it off again? He does, and that's Derrick Henry. He's gonna bounce off a couple tackles though, but gets wrapped up by JOK in the backfield. So 3rd and goal from the 11 coming up. 3rd and goal from the 11. Let's see if we can get some interior pressure with Mason Graham. We do. It looks like it was going to be a screen play, but we get there before he's able to get the ball out. So 4th and goal. We hold him to another field goal. The defense is doing their best. We need the offense to pick us up. All right, 3rd and inches on the 42. The offense, we finally get a look at it with Shedeur Sanders. You got Dylan Sampson in the backfield. We're going to run a counter. Sampson finds space, and he gets a 1st down. Dylan Sampson with a big play. Shedeur trying to make things happen here on 3rd and 10. We're just beyond the 30-yard line. Looking to get things going. Going over the middle, and that's going to be inaccurate. Looks like the pass rush got there. And it's going to be a holding call. So that's either going to back us up, or they're going to go with the 4th and 10. And they go with the 4th and 10. So we should at least get a field goal here. All right, 10-mile-per-hour winds. This is going to be a tough field goal. And we're going to miss it to the right. Oh, man. Wow, we missed that bad. So it's still a 9-0 game. All right, 9-0 game, 3rd and 10. The defense back on the field, trying to make them kick a field goal once again. Gonna have Miles Murphy. That's a screen pass. That's to Derrick Henry, and he gets all the way down to the 5. So 1st and goal coming up. Can the defense do it again? Can we hold them to just a field goal? 1st and goal from the 5. Derrick Henry's gonna run it, and he's gonna get tackled at the line of scrimmage. Gains a yard on that play. So 2nd and goal coming up. All right, 2nd and goal. Are they gonna hand it off once again? They do. We're right in the hole, and we meet Justice Hill in the backfield, or actually we get him at the line of scrimmage. So it's still at the 4. 3rd and goal. All right, 3rd and goal. Here comes Lamar. He's going to try to get outside the pocket. He does, and he gets into the end zone. Lamar Jackson doing it with his legs. A rushing touchdown as he runs to his left and finds space. 15-0 Ravens. Big moment for this offense here. 3rd and 3. Early on, trying to get some points finally. Going to go over the middle. That's to Boyd. Boyd makes the catch, and we get the 1st down. I'm gonna see if we could take advantage of this good field position. We're gonna try to hit the tight end, and no reaction from the tight end. So 3rd and 7 coming up. All right, 3rd and 7. We're dropping back. Gonna look for the tight end, and that's gonna be picked off by Kyle Hamilton, and he takes the knee to get him to the 20 and then celebrates. Good play by Kyle Hamilton. We thought we had the tight end on the corner route, and Kyle Hamilton makes a huge play to give the Ravens the ball, so the offense still scoreless. All right, it's going to jump us ahead to the 4th quarter. 4th and 22 coming up. A huge play. Going to look around. We're going to have nothing. Going to try to go over the middle. That's Carter. And that is over his head as Carter's unable to make the play. Shedeur trying to make something happen and turns the ball over on a turnover on downs. The Browns offense struggling against this Ravens defense. Down by a few scores. It's not looking good. We're going to try to get things going here with Shedeur. 3rd and 2 coming up after the drop by Fannin Jr. The lack of a offense is really showing in this game without the star players like Jerome Ford and David Njoku. That's who I was looking for. As Boyd makes a play, gets us a 1st and 10. Shedeur Sanders, 3 interceptions on the game so far. All right, very next play, we're going to go over the middle to the running back. That's Junkins. He makes the play. Better show a little urgency on this. Hurry up to the line. We are down by 3 scores, but we do have all our timeouts. And that's going to be deflected. A good job by number 15 getting across the field to make a play. All right, 3rd and 4. We're going to drop back here. Oh, and we miss our open running back for an easy 1st down. The sack on the play. And we almost threw an interception. So an ugly game, and Shedeur is trying to do his best to get out of this. And he's going to get sacked on the play. That's a flag, though. It's going to be probably on the offense, probably a holding call. There it is. So even if we converted, it wasn't going to help out, as Joel Bitonio gets the turnover on downs. The final score in this one, 26-0. The Ravens add one more late in the game, and we're unable to get anything going in this game offensively. Shedeur probably with the worst game of his career. Lamar Jackson took that tie personally, came in and did his thing, and the defense showed out for the Ravens, making it very difficult for this offense. I know it's a hurt offense, but still made it very difficult for this offense nonetheless, and we lose this game 26-0 and drop to 3-1. Let's take a look at some of the stats. All right, take a look at the stats. Don't mind the picture, it's a little glitched out right now. Shedeur Sanders, 23 of 42, 186 yards, no touchdowns, 3 picks. Lamar Jackson was 21 of 35, 175 yards. Didn't have a touchdown, but had a pick. Derrick Henry, 19 of 101 and a touchdown. Dylan Sampson, 10 for 27. Quishon Junkins, 2 for 6. Lamar Jackson, 4 for 7 and a touchdown. He also had a fumble on a day. You had Tyler Boyd, who led the team with 89 receiving yards. DeAndre Carter with 5 receptions. Not a good game from Jerry Jeudy, only 1 reception for 4 yards. Taking a look at the defense, the sacks in this game, you had 2 sacks for Tavius Robinson. Broderick Washington had a sack. You got Mike Green with the sack, a sack from Miles Murphy, and you also had a half a sack from Charles Menahue, and then Namdi Matabuki both had half a sack. Take a look at the interception. Awuzie had 2. You had Emerson who had 1, and then you had Kyle Hamilton who had that one on us. And no defensive touchdowns, I don't think. Yeah, no defensive touchdowns. You did have the forced fumble from Malik Collins. So what a game for the Ravens defense. Unable to get any points, this Cleveland Browns team, and we got to build on this. We're now 3-3-1. We'll return next week and we'll get a little bit deeper in the season, maybe even see the game against the Steelers. But at this point, the 3-3-1 Browns are scrambling, trying to figure out how to be better and, you know, start to put wins together again. As you can see, lost to the 49ers, lost to the Bills, lost to the Ravens, and now we got the Steelers, the Packers in the next couple of weeks. So let's see if we could turn this thing around and start getting some wins. But it's starting to look like a rebuild that we set out for it to be from the beginning, after that great start. But that's gonna do it for this one. If you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Nefarious, and I am out of here.